Okay. Right. Morning, everyone. We'll begin our service this morning with the ringing of the temple bell. At this time, please silence your cell phones and listen quietly as the sounding of the concho is an invitation to settle our hearts and minds as we prepare to receive the Dharma. Good morning again, and welcome to our Hoonko service at Holualoa Hongwanji. You see microphones here, and Mervin has his little camera. We're trying something. This is a remote. We're zooming, so we have done a remote Zoom for the cemetery service in July, but we're still on temple grounds. So this is the first time we're doing off of temple grounds, zooming a service here, and we have our Zoom crew, Ella and Joey, at the temple there. So I don't know if it's gonna break up or something's gonna happen, but this is a cloud. So today we commemorate the death of Shinran Shonin, the founder of Shin Buddhism. Shinran Shonin was born on May 21st, 1173, and attained birth in the Pure Land on January 16th, 1263. The Hoonko literally means Dharma gathering for acknowledging indebtedness and is observed to express a profound gratitude for Shinran for sharing the Nimbutsu teachings. Hoonko is the most important observance in our Joloshinshu school of Buddhism. It is an opportunity for us to deeply reflect on how we encounter Amida Buddha's compassionate vow and realizing the entrusting heart of Shinjin in our lives. Today we gather for Hoonko, a special day in the Joloshinshu tradition, when we remember and give thanks to Shinran Shonin, the founder of our tradition. Through his life and teachings, we have received the gift of the Nimbutsu, which continues to support us through our everyday lives. When we remember Shinran, let's listen to the Dharma and say Namo Amida Butsu. We are expressing our gratitude for the teaching that has been passed down for more than 800 years, all the way to us here today. Shinran lived in a time of great uncertainty, much like today. Even then, he came to understand and share the beautiful truth that Amida Buddha's compassion gently embraces everyone, just as we are, no matter our worries, mistakes, or struggles. So today, as we chant, listen, and reflect, we are not only remembering someone from long ago, we are opening our hearts to a living teaching that continues to care for us right here and now. May this Hoonko service be a time for us to slow down, to listen deeply, and to feel the warmth of Amida's compassion through the Nimbutsu. So if we could all please rise, and let's start our service with the Bandana and Tisarana, led by Reverend Blayne. Please sing both the Pali and English parts together with me.
Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Homage to him, the exalted one, the enlightened one, the supremely awakened one. Buddham saranam gacchami, Dharmam saranam gacchami, Sangham saranam gacchami. I go to the Buddha for guidance. I go to the Dharma for guidance. I go to the Sangha for guidance. Namatam, samantam, 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 samantam.
Will you please be seated? This morning, in honor of Shinran Shonin, Reverend Blayne will chant the Jusan, or Gatha of Praise, written by Shinran Shonin, followed by an aspiration.
Yorai go usen, shisho usen, inogu sai shou, shimeru den. Ichijo Jusan, Gatha of praise. This is the true exposition for which the Tathagata appeared in this world. The rare and supreme wonderful scripture, the ultimate teaching of the one vehicle, the golden words which enable one to quickly attain the complete and all-merging merits, the true words praised by all the Buddhas throughout the 10 quarters, and the true teaching conforming to the time and the capabilities of sentient beings. We gather before the shrine of the Amida Buddha as companions in the Dharma and fellow travelers along this journey of life. During this Hoonko observance, we honor the life and legacy of Shinran Shonin, who illuminated for us the path of universal awakening through the Nembutsu. Reflecting on Shinran's words from the hymns of Dharma ages, such is the benevolence of Amida's great compassion that we must strive to return it even to the breaking of our bodies. Such is the benevolence of the masters and true teachers that we must endeavor to repay it even to our bones becoming dust. With heartfelt gratitude, we adorn the altar with offerings, expressing our deep appreciation for the all-embracing wisdom and boundless compassion of Amida Buddha, which sustains our lives. We sincerely thank Shinran Shonin and the Pure Land Masters for sharing this profound, life-giving teaching with us. Let us aspire to listen to the Buddha Dharma with not only our ears, but with our whole being. May we strive to embody these teachings in our thoughts, through our words, and by our actions, for the benefit of all. May we continually take refuge in the Buddha, the one who guides us in this life, in the Dharma, the way of understanding and love, and in the Sangha, the community living in harmony and awareness. With deeply entrusting hearts, we call upon the honored name of Amida, the Buddha of infinite light and life, in gratitude, joy, and awareness for the promise of universal awakening. Namo Amida Butsu.
Namo Amida.
Namo Amida Butsu.
Namo.
Namo Amida Butsu. Namo.
It is now time for the offering of incense. We invite all Sangha members in attendance to please come up and offer incense if you wish, starting from the front rows and moving towards the back.
The best of this year. Back to the 6. That was your new song maker boys many minutes today. Here, see, go on. It's flying in, the reaction to it, and he's like, that's the point. Every single there's a student setting the chairs away from the lead. Here's lost. Sit. If you got these for very good defense, then she made yes. To being a difference maker, that girl is exactly where she in a way. I mean, that is what Mike Jackson go. I mean, whoever wins this game is a shot going to the Super Bowl, Jim. This game is that close. These teams have that ability. Big time play. Washington, a lot of difference he's made in this game after missing much of the first half with a head injury. Let's step aside for the injury. Thanks, Bruce. Yeah, credit card from Wells Fargo here. With his name. That's all. That's okay. That's it. There's super shirts. Super good. Oh, sure. We're gonna do printer.
It's not the printer. It's the connection.
You print the first time after you print 2, 3 copies.
Because you keep hitting that print, print, print. That's why.
This is what you call technical difficulties. Can you hear? Yeah. Can you hear? Just a reminder, those that are joining us from Zoom land, if you can please mute your phone or your devices. We love to have you here. Okay, it's now time for, let's now observe a moment of silent meditation. Reverend Blayne will now lead us in chanting the sutra, Ju Se Ge. Words can be found on the laminated handout.
The Buddha of infinite light and life, we vow to embrace all beings equally without exception. These vows promise to create a perfect world where no suffering or evil exists and guides us to supreme awakening. The Ju Se Ge, or verses reaffirming the vows, is a poetic summary of the basic intention of the 48 vows made by the Buddha to attain supreme enlightenment, to save all of our suffering, and to declare universal liberation through the name Namo Amida Butsu. We chant the words of the Buddha as a reminder of these great vows of compassion made to liberate and to awaken us all. The verses reaffirming the vows. The Seven Murojukyo Ju Se Ge. Angon Chosengan Ishimu Chono Shigan Manzo Seju Choga Gao Munyo Dai Senshi, Sai Shopping, Save Joshua, Ashi Jomino, Yocho Jimo, Ukyomisho. Stop.
Please stand or please rise for the singing of the Gatha Ondok Sang 2, which can be found in your handout. Ondok Sang. Oh, I thought you were gonna play it. Let's sing. No. Please be seated. Reverend Blayne will now share our Hoonko Dharma message.
Hi, good morning, everybody.
Good morning.
And Happy New Year. So thank you for attending this very special Hoonko observance, honoring the life and the teachings of our founder, Shinran Shonin. And so, as we begin, please join me in Gassho as we reflect on the words of Shinran from the Jodo Wasa, or Hymns of the Pure Land. The light of wisdom exceeds all measure, and every finite being receives this illumination that is like the dawn. So take refuge in Amida, the true and real light. Namo Amida Butsu. Namo Amida Butsu. Namo Amida Butsu. Namo. So, like was mentioned, Hoonko means a Dharma gathering for acknowledging indebtedness, and it is observed to show our deep gratitude to Shinran for sharing the Nembutsu path of awakening with us. This memorial service commemorates Shinran's birth in the Pure Land at the age of 90 on January 16, 1263. This is a chance for us to reflect on how we awaken to the compassionate vow of Amida Buddha and come to understand the trusting heart of Shinjin in our lives. Shinran was a revolutionary thinker who shared with us a way to achieve universal liberation and spiritual freedom. Born on May 21st, 1173, he was revered as a great religious teacher. But I also respect him as a remarkable human being who lived a life of critical self-reflection and spiritual honesty, and who called himself, surprisingly, Butoku, which means foolish, stubble-haired one. I've always admired his humility, his self-awareness, and how deeply relatable Shinran is. Shinran offers a lament in his writings. The Shinjin of the wise is such that they are inwardly wise and outwardly foolish. The heart of Gotoku, of Shinran, is such that I am inwardly foolish and outwardly wise. Right? Locally, we say, no act, yeah? Here we see the spiritual maturity, right, which serves as a lesson, right, for us to aim to live with a similar sense of self-awareness, right, a sense of understanding our own heart and mind. At the core of the Nembutsu path is accepting our complete humanness as imperfect beings and cultivating deep gratitude for the active presence of wisdom and compassion that embraces and never abandons us. Shinran recognized his own limitations as a human being and understood that he could not attain enlightenment through his own self-efforts without help. This realization led him to see the boundless working of all-encompassing wisdom and boundless compassion symbolized by the Buddha. It is this dual understanding, right, that brings about a profound spiritual change, enabling us to truly live with a trusting heart and a mind of Shinjin. Shinran teaches that the heart of reality revealing itself to us through the name Namo Amida Butsu is the sound of the universe calling us home to ourselves, encouraging us to wake up from our spiritual slumber. It reminds us that we are always living together in oneness with that which is true and real and timeless. Shinran teaches us how to live authentically in this world of suffering, in this world of samsara. Today, in honor of Shinran and the awakening that he shared, I want to reflect on a simple yet profound poem by the Myokonin, Saichi Asahara, who wrote the following verse. And he says, "Isn't it nice? The world is filled with Buddhas, and I too live among them. Namo Amida Butsu." What a remarkable way to see the world filled with nothing but Buddhas. However, we know from our experience that this doesn't necessarily mean that there are golden Buddhas lined up everywhere. We just have to turn on the TV to see that. Instead, it's about attuning one's heart to see the sacred in everything. It shows how we can encounter the world of the Buddhas, the Pure Land, in this very present moment. Seeing Buddhas everywhere is a deep recognition of how we receive life, and we are able to live only through countless causes and conditions. The sun, the moon, the earth, the insects, the trees, the grass, our family, friends, our experiences, everything beyond our immediate human control that sustains our lives can be considered Buddha. The Japanese author and Shin Buddhist writer, Dr. Hideo Yonezawa, believes in gratitude, we should put our hands together and humbly gasho to all things. When we are reverent to all things become Buddha. It is a world of nothing but Buddhas. We are living in such a world. Awakening to the working of the Pure Land is Namo Amida Butsu. It is the oneness of myself and the power that is beyond self. When we listen with the heart of Amida's calling voice, everything in life expresses Namo Amida Butsu. Even our challenges and failures. However, our ego, right, dominates our lives and determines whether we see the Pure Land around us. Right? How many of us see life as the glass is half empty or half full? Our ego, right, constantly turns the Pure Land into a troubled realm of suffering, right, through the three poisons of greed, anger, and ignorance. Yet the Buddhas in our lives are always trying to wake us up to the world of awakening that is always present, teaching us to become genuine, authentic human beings. What is remarkable about the Pure Land path that Shinran shared is that the practice of Nembutsu is rooted in our daily lives. After leaving Mount Hiei, where he trained as a monk for 20 years, Shinran married, raised a family, and lived an ordinary householder life while continuing to say the Nembutsu as his practice. Because of this, Shinran saw himself as neither a monk nor a layperson, living in a spiritual space that embraced both the sacred and the profane within himself. Shin Buddhist scholar, Professor Takemoto Shinigaki, describes this spiritual journey as walking the path of the Nembutsu of everyday life, in which we think on the Buddha and say the Nembutsu, in whatever condition, whether laughing or crying, angry or happy, that we may find ourselves. Through this daily practice, a path opens up before us, allowing us to realize true awakening and attain Buddhahood. This is the path that Shinran experienced and has revealed to us. Dr. Yonezawa also says, in becoming one with the power beyond self, we receive the strength to live through anything. This is called awakening to Namo Amida Butsu, awakening to one's true self, or meeting one's true self. The Buddha Dharma is the path that teaches this awakening. When we meet the Buddha Dharma for the first time, there arises the aspiration to live authentically. Spiritual awakening is often described as a climb to the top of a mountain, where we leave our attachments behind. However, in Buddhism, especially within the Shin Buddhist path, our spiritual awakening happens when we enter into the valley of our lives, right, into the shadow of the mountains, the dark places. This inward journey of our heart and mind embodies Shinran's teaching. We often seek certainty and clear answers. However, this craving is often what leads to our suffering, right? That we should create space for uncertainty and to accept not knowing, as this is where genuine growth occurs. When we realize the illusion of control, we can recognize the potential for transformation and healing. Opening our hearts to the unknown can be frightening. However, deliberately making ourselves vulnerable is the only way to find our true self, which is already embraced by the Buddha. This dynamic relationship between an individual and the Amida is the heart of the Shin path. The Buddha's compassion is intertwined with our imperfect lives. Recognizing and accepting our imperfections is fundamental to Shin Buddhism and opens the way for transformation and healing. Shinran's view of human nature and spirituality is reflected in this paradoxical relationship of truly living with our flaws and limitations every moment of our lives, yet knowing that we are destined for Buddhahood because we are always embraced by Amida Buddha. The karmic burdens Shinran recognized are the fundamental flaws we all share as human beings. He came to see that these flaws are an essential part of who we are and are connected to the sacred in our lives. It is only because of our flaws and rough edges that the sacred exists and can truly embrace us. If our lives are perfect, right, or perfectly smooth, there would be nothing for the sacred to hold on to. It was only when Shinran embraced uncertainty, acknowledged his lack of control, and accepted his helplessness that his flaws became the path to spiritual awakening. Only because Shinran had rough edges could Amida reach him, and only because of the gaps in his life, the holes in his life, that the Dharma had a place to fill, to make whole. This wholehearted acceptance of our imperfect selves is the core of the Pure Land path. Shinran saw himself as an Ichantika, or a hopeless person bound by blind passions and unable to follow the Buddha's path. It was only by becoming aware of his true nature that Shinran realized he was already within Amida's embrace. The Nembutsu path of trusting in the vow of Amida Buddha offers hope to the hopeless, enabling us to awaken to our inherent Buddha nature. Shinran teaches us a life of fearlessness, one in which we face life's challenges and contradictions with courage, with a sense of peace and certainty. Creating a realistic and hopeful outlook becomes achievable when we accept change and stay open to uncertainty. The Nembutsu is a lifeline as we dive into the vast and endless ocean of life. Namo Amida Butsu connects us to the incredible life of the Buddha, reminding us that we are never alone in our struggles. In our world today, we are often told to be afraid of others who are different from us, whether it is how they look, speak, act, believe, or vote. Fear is a tool used to control and dominate, limiting our thinking and closing us off from others. Just like how the recent killing of a 37-year-old Renee Nicole Good in Minnesota, an immigration and customs enforcement officer, is now being justified by those in power to instill fear in us. This state-sanctioned violence is unacceptable and should be rejected. Shinran's teaching, however, offers a counterbalance to this growing wave of fear and hatred, enabling us to live fearlessly with open hearts and minds. Reverend Dr. Jeff Wilson, a Shin Buddhist scholar from Canada, reflects on his deep appreciation for Shinran's teaching of fearlessness. And he says, in religion, Shinran is my main guide and role model. When I think of him, I think of a man who was deeply in touch with reality and who was brave in his beliefs. In the Kyogyo Shinsho, he points out that fearlessness is one of the names for nirvana. He was a person who was willing to speak truth to power, as the saying goes. He had the strength to stick up for his unpopular views, that Amida embraced everyone, even the poor and illiterate. He went into exile and even criticized the emperor himself. In 13th century Japan, that was some serious chutzpah. He was truly fearless, but he wasn't a jerk about it. The Pure Land way gave him not only comfort, but also courage. And he did what he felt was right, helping others even when he knew that there would be a cost to himself. I admire Shinran for being an independent and radical thinker. He opened the gateway of the Dharma to everyone, regardless of status or education, and offered the hope of universal liberation through Amida Buddha's compassionate vow. Shinran gives me courage now as we face these many challenges in our world today. The Nembutsu, taught by Shinran, is a path of becoming a true and real human being who lives with sincerity, with authenticity, and a deep gratitude for all that life has to teach us, seeing Buddhas all around us. So, how can we follow Saichi Asahada's example and bravely see Buddhas everywhere, striving to perceive the Pure Land, and in each unrepeatable moment is our lifelong practice on the Nembutsu path that can transform our world. So thank you for gathering today to honor Shinran Shonin in this beautiful historic temple. As we reflect on his fearlessness, his honesty, and his joyful way of living, Shinran's life of deep gratitude reveals a world of awakening where we realize that we are supported and we are embraced by infinite light and life itself. We are truly thankful to Shinran for sharing the life-giving and transformative teachings of the Nembutsu with the world. And so in closing, please join me in Gassho to recite the Nembutsu together. Namo Amida Butsu. Namo Amida Butsu. Namo Amida Butsu. Namo Butsu. Namo Butsu. Namo Butsu. Namo.
Thank you, Reverend Blayne, for your Dharma message. Reverend Blayne will now read the Gobunsho. The Gobunsho are a collection of letters written by Renyo Shonin, the 8th spiritual leader of the Hongwanji over 500 years ago. These letters summarize and clarify the essence of Shinran's teaching. Reverend Blayne will read the Gobunsho Matsudai Muchi no Sho, or those lacking wisdom in the latter ages, in traditional Japanese and in English. And we need to kind of hurry because we're on low batteries.
Matsudai Muchi no 在世中の男女足らん友柄は心を一つにして阿弥陀仏と深く頼み参らせてさらに世の方へ心を振らず一心にこにぐ助けたまえともさん主張がたとえ在後は人中なりとも必ず皆如来は救いはしますべしこれすなわち第18の念仏の上の世願の心なり悪のごとく現象しての上には寝ても覚めても命のあらぬ限りは称名念仏名ものなりあながしごあながしご Those lacking wisdom in the latter age. Laymen and laywomen in the latter age who lack wisdom should deeply rely on Amida Buddha with singleness of heart, entrusting themselves to the Buddha single-mindedly and unwaveringly for their emancipation, without turning their thoughts to other matters. However deep and heavy their evil karma may be, Amida Tathagata unfailingly saves them. This is the essence of the 18th vow that assures our birth in the Pure Land through the Nembutsu. Once our heart is thus settled, they should stay the Nembutsu, whether awake or asleep, for as long as we live. Humbly and respectfully. Namandals, 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 namandals.
Thank you, Blayne. Now, we will have a unison reading of the Golden Chain of Love, which words can be found on your laminated handout. And according to Ming Temple, we're still translating. So here you go. I am a link in Amida Buddha's golden chain of love that stretches around the world. I must keep my link bright and strong. I will try to be kind and gentle to every living thing and protect all who are weaker than myself. I will try to think pure and beautiful thoughts, to say pure and beautiful words, and to do pure and beautiful deeds, knowing that on what I do now depends not only my happiness or unhappiness, but also that of others. May every link in Amida's golden chain of love become very strong, and may we all attain perfect peace. Namo Tassa. Namo Tassa. Please rise as we conclude this service with the singing of the Gatha Nembutsu. Namandogs, 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 namandogs.